Okay, good. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and yes, we're going back to the JRC, but the disclaimer and the trigger warnings first. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are in the description box along with some helpful labels. That way, if you want to deep dive into the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, Agape Boarding School, or the myriad of places just like it, you'll definitely be able to do so. Trigger warnings, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. First off, I do indeed use profanity. And second, when we talk of places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people's mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children who are 16 and younger that are watching this, parental supervision is advised. Now this is for the JRC. I'm going to paraphrase it because it's more of the same as we've seen time and again. Victim blaming the kid, telling us, but it makes things better. It does. Because while reading through this screen, something in particular stood out to me, and I'm going to read it to you all real quick. He has his best life right now that anyone can expect for him, and he is reminded not to hurt himself with the help of the GED. I want this individual parent to please say that out loud. And after they're done doing that, I want them to imagine a neurotypical child in the place of their son. There's a reason why I'm saying this, because for the individual saying, but a neurotypical kid wouldn't be hurting themselves like this, have never heard of cutters. Neurotypical kids engage in forms of self-injurious behavior that is more accepted by neurotypical society, but even though they're accepted, does not mean they aren't self-injurious behavior. Becoming drunk to the point that you leave a friend's party and you get in a car accident that puts you in a hospital can be considered self-injurious behavior. Kids who delve too deep into drugs for whatever reason, guess what? Self-injurious behavior. Kids driving way too fast that can end up in accidents. Self-injurious behavior. Us Gen X kids thinking it was a good idea to climb our roofs and jump off the top of them. And yes, there is old VHS recorder tapes of my brothers doing exactly that can be considered self-injurious behavior. Kids do stupid, dangerous, reckless, life-threatening things every single day, neurotypical or neurodivergent. Just because they're not the same types of behaviors do not mean they're not both self-injurious behaviors. And just like us with neurotypical kids, they're often non-conscious self-injurious behaviors. So let's put a neurotypical kid in your son's shoes. They have become an alcoholic. Yes. Kids in high school and even middle school become alcoholics all the time. And their reckless drinking has them constantly partying around very questionable people. And in one such circumstance, they drove home drunk, had a massive accident that hurt them pretty bad, put them in the hospital. Their behaviors are out of control and the parents are at their wits' end. They cannot stop their kid from drinking. Neurotypical kid. Now, how would you feel if someone put on a device on that kid, like the GED device, that was designed specifically to cause them intense pain. And your idea is the same as it was in previous generation of parents that, but with the device to punish them beforehand, they won't hurt themselves. Does the same logic still hold? And if it doesn't, why doesn't it? Is not becoming an alcoholic young self-injurious behavior? Is not driving home drunk without so much as a designated driver or a call home indicates someone that is somebody who is well adjusted to you? But it happens every day. So if you would not take a neurotypical engaging in very obvious self-injurious behavior and force them on a human shock collar, why is it okay to do it to your disabled son? But nothing else worked. You know how many parents of neurotypical kids who have become alcoholics have said the exact same words? You see, I know this because my mom has been in healthcare since before I could walk or talk, and that's about as long as I have been around ER rooms. Seeing parents come in to see their kids in those situations, crying, saying we don't know what else to do. Think those parents would ever agree to put them on the GED device? After all, that is self-injurious behavior. Maybe if they have something like the GED, they won't continue into alcoholism and reckless behaviors. But wouldn't that contribute to, yes, to more of those similar types of behaviors, just like it did with Gen X? And more than likely, and I'm not saying this to be mean, may happen to your son later too. You see, actions also have consequences. As parents, you are your son's last bit of self-defense. When you allow people to do what the JRC does, eventually the bill is going to come due. And no amount of, well, we didn't know what else to do, is going to be considered to be enough when that bill does come due. And it always comes due. And when you tell yourselves, but he's happy now and this is a better life for him, it's because that's what you want to believe. You want to believe the picture that the JRC has strategically and painstakingly painted for you, instead of seeing the very clear reality for what it is. Now, number 2, back when I said, say it out loud, and he is reminded not to hurt himself with the GED. Are you aware of the fact that he is being reminded not to hurt himself by a device designed to cause him intense, excruciating pain? From a logical point of view, does that sentence make any comprehensive logical sense? We'll read it again. And he's reminded not to hurt himself with the GED. A device that is designed to cause intense physical pain to your son is going to remind him to not hurt himself by hurting him. Tell me truly if that makes real coherent sense to you. But we can see the results. Look, see? I was part of one of the last generation who got the belt. Corporal punishment. A behavior modifier, if you will. Coming from that generation, I can tell you, yes, it modified our behaviors for an extremely short period of time, after which resentment overcame the fear. That little nugget in the back of your head that makes you want some form of revenge or rebellion, which drives you towards even more reckless, potentially fatal types of behavior afterwards. Want to know why? Because fear is never a permanent modifier of behaviors. Will it permanently scar your psyche? And affect how you see the world, interact, and understand it? You bet your ass. But as an overall method used to control behaviors, it's a complete failure. It only stops it for a brief point in time. It provides no form of longevity. Which means when the fear fades, the behaviors come back because the behaviors were never properly addressed in the first place. As long as they continue to go unaddressed, the more often you're going to keep these kids on human shock collars. Being on a human shock collar for the rest of your life, and you're telling me that this is making your child happy and providing better quality of life. But all this stuff he was doing at home, and he's not doing it anymore. So yes, it does. Yes, it does. It doesn't. Or is that what you get through fear? And how long will those changes remain when the fear is gone? Part of the reason you're so afraid of the GED device getting banned is because deep down you know when the fear is no longer there, the behaviors will come back. Because deep down inside you understand that fear cannot modify behavior permanently. If it could, your son would no longer be on that device. And if you took a neurotypical kid in a similar situation like the one I just described, and you wouldn't put him on that device, then you shouldn't do it to a neurodivergent or someone who's having mental health issues. Okay? Because if it doesn't work for neurotypicals permanently, it's not going to work for us permanently either. And just like with neurotypical kids, there are consequences, and the bill always comes due. I understand how desperate situations can get, how bad they can get. But did no one ever tell you all that two wrongs don't make a right? Has anybody ever told you not every means always justifies the ends? You gotta think about this stuff. Just because the JRC is showing you the picture that you want to see does not mean that picture is real. Just because your son is behaving in a way that makes you happy, even if he wears a smile and doing all the things you mentioned here. Folks, and I've told you all about my childhood and how dark it was. I went to school every day with a giant smile on my face. My clothes were always clean. I always washed myself. I participated in class and would attempt to be social. I was very good at showing people what they wanted to see. Because the misery, the anger, the rage, the sadness, the loneliness, I hid it. I hid it all as a means of self-preservation. And I am by far not the only autistic to have ever done so. In fact, a good majority of us will tell you we learned how to mask to survive almost to the woman or man, or non-binary, them, they, however you wish to refer to yourself. That's completely fine. But yeah. And that sentence is the most nonsensical sentence I have ever seen in my life. And coming from me, that is something. He's reminded not to hurt himself by a device designed to cause him intense and immense physical pain. Your son is still being hurt. You are justifying it by buying the illusion that the JRC sells you. But the fact that you even have to write in to complain shows us just how utterly useless and barbaric the GED device is. Because the effects aren't long-lasting. Because your kid is going to be hurt by that device for years on end, which means your kid is still being hurt. And one day the bill will come due. And I really hope that parents wise up before then. We're going to go ahead and close out on that one. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit the comments, and make sure you are still set up to receive notifications. Check that notification bell so that you can receive alerts on my next video I'm going to be doing today, for example, which is going to be on Social Security, our Medicaid series, Section 8, Down the Rabbit Hole series for the anti-vax movement. Please make sure you're still set up to receive notifications, folks, so you don't miss a thing. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye, everyone.